Hey guys, well, welcome to episode 100 of the Men of Iron podcast. It's hard to believe it's been 100 episodes, and just wanted to start this one out by just saying thank you and celebrating a little bit the fact that this is the 100th episode. And you're going to hear in this episode, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the significance of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and going to just kind of reflect back on a story from 2021 and an experience I had where I was very, very uncomfortable. But the reason we wanted to just kind of take a moment here before the podcast started to celebrate this 100th podcast is obviously this podcast is meant to just be a quick encouragement to all of our subscribers and listeners. And I think at the same time, this is the perfect episode for the 100th. Because we also want this to be a source that, a media source that's stretching all of us, right? Sharpening all of us, making us each a little uncomfortable on a weekly basis from a standpoint of just really sharpening our faith, sharpening our family, friends, fitness, and finances. And I'll tell you what, one of the best ways you can help Men of Iron celebrate this 100th episode is by simply sharing this, subscribing, whether you're listening to Apple Podcast or Spotify or listening to our YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe and share this particular episode and encourage your friends and family and your network to do the same. Share it with somebody that you believe this will sharpen them, encourage them, and make them maybe even a little uncomfortable. So guys, enjoy this 100th episode, and we'll talk with you. Many of you might be familiar with Men of Iron's 5-part video series for mentoring small groups of men called Anchored Man, and it's a series, and I'll just say it's a ministry that was founded by Jason Graves, the lead pastor of Daybreak Church out in San Diego, California. And, when we came across and kind of acquired Anchored Man under the Men of Iron umbrella, Jason and I got to know each other fairly well, and I was fortunate enough to go out to California and spend a couple of days with Jason. And one of the things I wanted to do is he's an avid rock climber, and I had never done this in my entire life. And I said, hey man, I want to rock climb. And he was all excited to take us. And so, I decided that we would get out there and make this a priority in May of 2021. And we got out there, and I remember Jason being like, hey man, we kind of have two options. We can, do something that's a pretty easy climb. You're never going to be in danger. It's not going to push you too much physically. We're going to have incredible views. You'll have a great day. Or we could go to something a little bit more challenging. It's going to push you physically, push you mentally, maybe even spiritually, and, but it's going to be awesome, but it's going to be a challenge. And of course, prideful me said, hey, I want the latter part. Like, I want that challenge. Let's do that. And little did I know what I was getting myself into. But to kind of put it into context, I'm not a rock climber by any means. And those of you that are, Jason told me we would be climbing what's called 5-9, level 5-9, and 5-10 cracks. Now, that meant nothing to me, but apparently 5-9, 5-10 cracks, very few first-time climbers are going to climb something of this magnitude. And so, if I remember correctly, I think we had to, we started out and we were at about 6,000 feet. We had to hike to 7,000 feet, and that's where the true rock climbing would start. And then we had to climb another 800 feet of granite from there. And I can remember getting to the base of this granite wall and looking up and thinking, like, what the heck did I get myself into? And Jason was trying to review with me, hey, here's what you got to do. Here's the techniques you got to use. But all I kept saying is, like, I'm going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And I was trying to pay attention, but I was more excited about getting on that granite wall. And so we had several parts of this climb. I believe there was 6 pitches was the goal. And I remember as I started to climb that first pitch, everything in me was so uncomfortable. I was nervous. I'm not afraid to admit this. Like, I was scared. I was slipping. I was falling. In the meantime, I was anchored in. Like, I was safe, but you're still a very, very long way off the ground. And you're doing something that, even though I'm what I would consider in decent shape, this was pushing my body to the limit. In fact, I got to, I believe, the end of the second pitch. We still had 4 more pitches to go, and my entire body like seized up. I was cramping, my fingers, my forearms, my legs, and I thought to myself, like, how in the world am I going to finish this? And I'm going to spare you all the details, but I will tell you that I was in a very uncomfortable place. My body hurt. I was scared. I was the last climber of each pitch, and so sometimes I was down at the bottom of a pitch for like 20, 25, 35, 45 minutes by myself, trying to get my mind right to go up while the guys ahead of me were climbing the pitch in front. And I remember at one point really being scared. I couldn't get up over this one part, and I radioed up, and I said, Jason, I don't know if I can do this, man. Like, my body's cramping. And he very firmly got on the radio and said, you're going to make this. There's no other way off this mountain. Now, we eventually made it to the top, but I think we started climbing around 8:30 or 9 in the morning, and we didn't get off that mountain until about 7:30 that night. And I can tell you this, is that I was out of my comfort zone. I was out of my comfort zone. But you see, I kept reminding myself of something at Men of Iron that we preach here often, and it's this whole idea of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you see, getting out of a comfort zone, guys, requires a step of faith. And as we've talked the last couple of podcasts about focus and distraction and guardrails and being intentional with a plan and a purpose and moving forward with God's will, we need to understand that will require us to get out of our comfort zone. This will require us to get out of our comfort zone. And I love what Proverbs 3:5-6 says. It says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. You see, our own understanding is comfortable. But when we have to really trust in the Lord with all of our heart, well, then that's where we have to live out the second part of this passage, which says this: in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. You see, God has given us humans the ability to radically change our lives. And so maybe you're here and you're not living out priorities, you're not accomplishing the goals, you don't have values established, you don't have guardrails established, you're not being intentional with your plan and purpose. The bottom line and the good news is that God gives you the ability to radically change that. And so, guys, my challenge today is don't resist change, but embrace it. And look for change in your life that's going to get you out of your comfort zone. For me, that moment on the mountain was 9 hours of terror. I was scared. My body, I was so sore the next day. But I will tell you, I look back at that moment and I am so glad that I did that. It is a lifetime memory. It's a mile marker for me. I don't have time to get into it today, but that was a spiritual experience for me in that mountain. So start simple. What is the one thing in your life that's going to put you out of your comfort zone right now that you know you need to do, but you've been resisting it? Don't resist that change, but embrace it. We'll talk to you guys next time.